Before we start, Neil and Linda Goldman asked me to just read something very short. Neil was one of the people, like a number of other people in this room, who really was very instrumental in actually working to start this particular facility. So this is it. To Harriet and Ralph and extended family, thank you for your generous donation to this home. As the first president of Woodbridge and our board of directors, we completed our dream of an assisted living and Alzheimer home. We used to advertise from your home to your home. My father was one of the first residents here, along with Ruthie Pastor's grandmother. Your family's generous donation will take Harriet and Ralph residences through this entire century. A legacy you and your family deserve with much love and affection, the Goldmans and Morrow family. So that was just from you. So I'd like to first welcome up Rabbi Rogozin.
Thank you, Anne. I'm honored to share a word of Torah at this dedication ceremony of the Harriet and Ralph Kaplan estate. The psalmist wrote, "Cast me not off in a time of old age. When my own strength fails, do not forsake me." In the past century, Social Security and Medicare have greatly reduced poverty among older people. And thanks to medical advances, people are living longer than at any time in history. Today, according to Atul Gawande, what the elderly fear is not death, but what happens short of death. Losing their hearing, losing their memory, their friends, and their way of life. And so the challenge of the 21st century is how we address the concerns of living and enjoying life as we age. And you will hear many speakers talk about what this center does and why this gift was so important. I'm going to share my take on it. In my conversations with Ralph and Harriet, I like to think that this is actually the second Harriet and Ralph Kaplan estate. Because the first one is at 64 Blodgett, with satellite campuses, and Ann and Bob's home, Roz and Brian, Susan, Judy and Bill's, and the grandchildren, eventually the great-grandchildren. And I like to think that when you are blessed to have 26 of 28 family members live within 15 miles, many more living within 15 minutes, and everyone here on a day like this, that you, Ralph and Harriet, have given this gift in part as an expression of your gratitude and thankfulness for the family that you have. And please God, may everyone benefit and enjoy the warmth and the love that exists within the Kaplan family by coming to a center that will bear their name. And so I'd like to close with a blessing. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless this house, which shall be called the Harriet and Ralph Kaplan Estates from this day on. May it remain a vibrant center for living, a place of friendship, independence, and spiritual nourishment. And may this building, which now bears the Kaplan name, remain a living testament to your family's love and compassion, loyalty and dedication, and a living realization of your commitment that the sages of our community deserve to live in their own community with that same love and compassion, loyalty and dedication that is the glue of the Kaplan family. And let us say, Amen.
And now we'd like to hear a little bit from Mr. Barry Berman. He is really the person that made this day happen. He spoke to my dad, and from that, miracles sometimes happen, and this is just an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you very much. My name is Barry Berman. I'm the CEO of the Chelsea Jewish Foundation, and I've been the CEO there for, if you can believe it, 40 years. It was the first job that I had out of graduate school, and I can only tell you how my attitude obviously has changed, because when you're 22 years old, you're not concerned about aging. And my parents were only in their early 50s and I wasn't concerned. But now that I'm 62 years old, and I see what happened, and how nursing homes are not just for the elderly anymore, you really have a totally different perspective. Before I just talk to you very briefly about my vision of care, I just want to share with you the conversation I had with Ralph. When the Chelsea Jewish Foundation was fortunate enough to acquire the Aviv Centers for Living, we decided we needed to go on a fundraising campaign. And I knew that Woodbridge needed a name. So I called Ralph Kaplan, who I'd known through the years, through the Israeli bond program. And I said, Ralph, can I come over and talk with you? And he was very gracious and said, yes, please do. So I went to talk to Ralph, and I said, you know, Ralph, with my ideas and your money, we can do some great things. And he said, well, how great are your ideas? So I threw out a figure, and Ralph looked at me and said, give me another figure. So I gave him a higher figure. And I knew that wasn't what he was looking for, but we talked and talked and talked. At the end of the day, we worked out something that is wonderful for the Chelsea Jewish Foundation. And we are so, so grateful to Ralph and Harriet and their family. Before I just talk very briefly, I just want to recognize Gilda Richmond, who is the chairman of the board of the Chelsea Jewish Foundation. And I just want to tell you I work with some amazing colleagues that have made this day happen for all of you. And I just want to recognize all of them that are here also. So what is our vision of care, the Chelsea Jewish Foundation? We have been pioneers in changing the way people age. The word nursing home, and I'm painfully aware how I spent my career. You mention the word nursing home, and the first thing people do is they quake in their boots. And they say to themselves, I'll take that little pill before I end up in a nursing home. But you know what? People don't take that pill. And people do end up in nursing homes. And through the years, the Chelsea Jewish Nursing Home won award after award after award. And I always thought we were doing such a great job until I had the personal knock that I needed that made our organization go on a mission. My mother suffered a stroke when she was in her late 70s. After a lot of rehab, she was living in Cohen Florence Lavina Estates, which is our assisted living on Atlas Hill. She developed a pneumonia, and she needed to go to the Chelsea Jewish Nursing Home for some short-term rehab. Now, I was the kind of son, I saw my mother every day. My friends joked with me that I brought my mother to work with me. I wasn't one of these sons that lived in California that saw her once a year and saw the decline. I was with her daily. And I'll never forget the day I went up to see her, and there she was, after 2 days in my own nursing home, this old woman who had changed so drastically. She just had the look of despair. She looked like she had aged 20 years in a matter of days from not being in her own apartment. And I realized at that point there has to be a better way to care for the aged and care for the disabled. So the Chelsea Jewish Nursing Home Foundation embarked on a program called the Greenhouse Project, which we are introducing to this campus as we speak. And what it really does, it just changes the way that people age. It's personal-centered care. You have to really see it to believe it. There are households There are no medicine carts. There's all-day dining. There are no long corridors. It's making the nursing home industry a very, very residential model of care. And in Chelsea, at the Leonard Florence Center, we care for young individuals with ALS, with MS. We're planning on opening up an MS residence here at the Frederick Center. And we're just very aware of how, in the future, people are going to age and what people are going to need. When I started at Chelsea Jewish 40 years ago, we had a minyan twice a day. All the men wore their yarmulkes all the time. No one ever wanted to go out to eat. Now, every building that we have is with Wi-Fi, with the latest technology. We have to gear up for the baby boomers that are already starting to enter our nursing homes. And it cannot stay the way it was. And with the help of Harriet and Ralph Kaplan and the different families that have been so generous to us, we look forward as a foundation to just changing the way that people age. And I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you.
We take the time to recognize the things that we have seen and done. This moment shared by everyone. Our hearts are filled with gratitude. Our sense of purpose is renewed. And words of blessing roll off of our tongues.
Someone who not only is representing CJP, but is also one of our closest family friends, Lori.
And Graham. Harriet and Ralph, Barry, members of the extended Kaplan family. I am so honored and humbled to be here today representing Barry Schrage and CJP to offer our greetings and thanks for all you and your family have done and continue to do to our Jewish community. When I was asked to speak for a few moments, I had to pause for a second to think of the specific context or relationship through which I had been asked to be part of this program. You see, I, like so many of the others in this room today, know the two of you in so many different ways. We are your friends, your philanthropic partners, your colleagues, your community, your admirers, and today we are certainly proud members of your mishpacha, your extended family. Harriet and Ralph, the two of you have been role models and mentors for so many of us in this room today. It is so wonderful that we are here together to celebrate with you the opening of the Harriet and Ralph Kaplan Estates. This facility will be a lasting legacy for all of the wonderful contributions that you've made to our community over the years. More importantly, it will act as a constant reminder to all who enter its doors, whether they be residents or visitors, of your generosity of spirit, your menschlichkeit, your love of family, and your love of our community. Harriet and Ralph, you are an inspiration. May you and your entire family continue to grow from strength to strength. I think I speak for everybody in the room when I say we love you.
Judy?
It is my pleasure to share with you some reflections of growing up in the home of Harriet and Ralph Kaplan. My name is Judy Mishkin, and I speak on behalf of all of my parents' children, Anne, Rosie, Susan, and myself, as I tell you some highlights and memories of our younger years. I hope that you will get a sense of the love, warmth, devotion, and leadership that our parents showed us, and also gain an understanding of our upbringing. My father spent his whole life working hard to grow a business. Because Ralph maintained an incredibly busy work schedule, Harriet needed something to do to occupy her time away from her husband. Voila! Within a span of 5 years, Harriet and Ralph had 4 children, all female. Every time a child was born, Ralph would think to himself, is this one a male? Alas, the answer was always no. He finally accepted the 5-to-1 ratio of females to males and was resigned to the fact that he would never produce a Heisman Trophy winner. Raising 4 daughters clearly had its challenges. Among the biggest challenges was the lack of space in their small Malden apartment. After Susan was born, they moved to 45 Blodgett Avenue, Swampscott. The home of our childhood was well designed for such a busy, active family. It was a home that welcomed so many of their friends, our boyfriends, 2 of whom became my sister's husbands, and lots of family. My parents built their home to have a room for my beloved grandfathers, Grandpa Harry and Grandpa Joey. Grandpa Harry lived with us, and Grandpa Joey came every weekend to babysit. He wanted to give my parents a well-deserved break from their weekday schedule and even some time alone. Though he tried really hard, Grandpa Joey often had a difficult time controlling the constant hubbub of life in our household. Our front door was always open. I think of this openness as a metaphor for the way in which my parents treated all their guests and us. Unequivocally, the central and most important room in our home was the kitchen, where most of the action took place. We had a huge kitchen table with wraparound seating, a great place for large groups to converge, converse, communicate, and connect. On many weekend nights, our kitchen was filled with friends who enjoyed both the company and the food. Bagels were eaten by the dozen on Friday nights, deli was purchased for daytime meals, and there was constant meal preparation because we all liked different foods. Harriet was a stay-at-home mom who took charge of all the moving parts of running the household. She helped get us ready for school, packed our lunches, took us to our activities, and generally oversaw our diverse schedules. She was amazingly organized, efficient, neat, and punctual. Her respite from her hectic day-to-day life occurred in the summer when she shipped all of us off to overnight camp for 2 months. In fact, I think I still hold the record at Camp Talnoa as the youngest camper ever when I went as a 6.5-year-old. To this day, she continues to exemplify these same qualities. She takes care of all the cleaning, cooking, maintenance, and major functions of the house. She and Ralph are never late. In fact, they have been so early for some functions that they arrive before the hosts. My dad tried to do his part as well. His days involved long hours at work, but when he came home at night or on the weekends, he did his share of parenting. His weekend responsibilities typically involved shuttling us to temple for religious school and then taking us out on Sunday afternoons. Revere Beach was one of our favorite destinations. At that time, there were rides and concession stands. It was a great way to spend the day, and we looked forward to those weekly excursions. My sisters and I have experienced seemingly countless happy occasions with our parents. They have participated in all our life cycle events, bat mitzvah, graduations, award ceremonies, and so many other special events. They were quintessential role models who enabled all of us to pursue our passions and strive for the best. Education was highly valued, and my parents wanted us to attend whatever university we chose. They instilled in us the importance of finding our own paths. Anne, Rosie, and I chose careers in teaching, and Susan chose a career in law. We never doubted that getting an excellent education was a top priority for them. They encouraged us to study hard and excel academically. Lifelong learning has always been a core value of our family. The house where our parents live now, 64 Blodgett Avenue, just a few houses down the street from where we grew up, is actually a residence in which my sisters and I never lived. However, my parents exude the same wonderful love and warmth there. The proximity of living so close to each other makes the ability to get together so much easier. In addition to seeing our parents so often, we speak to them daily and sometimes several times a day. We are constantly in their thoughts as they are in ours. My parents have supported my sisters and me through all our trials and tribulations. No matter what happened in our lives, our parents gave us unconditional love. Although we tend to focus on the bigger events in our lives, it is really the small moments of being together as a family that are the most meaningful. They have guided us to value what is truly important in life. They have inspired us and so many others to focus on building relationships, living with integrity, and doing good deeds. We are extraordinarily fortunate and blessed to have grown up with Harriet and Ralph as our parents. I don't think two better parents exist. They are our heroes.
Must have been cold here in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the ones with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. And I could fly higher than an eagle
Thank you all so much for coming here today. It means such a great deal.
Joey, pick it up.
It means such a great deal to me and my entire family to see all of you here, to honor my grandparents. Truly wonderful people who have done so much, not only for their family, but for our entire community, the Jewish people, and the state of Israel. I was quite honored when I was asked to say a few words today on behalf of all of Harriet and Ralph's grandchildren. Me, my wife Ariana, my brother Steve and his wife Rachel, my sister Kate and her husband Dan, my cousin Scott, his wife Ann, my cousins David and Amy, and of course my late cousin Jamie, a blessed memory who we all miss so much every day. As far as speaking for my grandparents goes, I'm really the right man for the job. I've known them my entire life, and as the oldest grandchild, I've known them the longest. And as far as Ralph goes, I've had the very good fortune to know him not only as a grandfather, but also as a boss, a business partner, and a mentor. But sometimes in our family, it seems like it's all about Ralph. And before discussing Ralph, I'd like to say a few words about the real boss. Not only the boss of our family, but the boss of Cappy's and everything Ralph does, Nana Harriet. Nana reminds me, and I'm sure she reminds all of her grandchildren all the time, that if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here. And it's true in a literal sense, but it's also true that none of us would be here today had Nana Harriet not been such a great wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, and allowed Ralph the freedom to work hard, to do all that he has done for his community, his business, and his industry. All of the awards, honors, successes, and accolades that Ralph has achieved over the years, very impressive, they really pale in comparison to the achievements of Nana Harriet, successfully keeping her family together and close by through so many ups and downs and so many years. So I think that Nana Harriet deserves a separate round of applause. And now, Ralph. I was told to be nice, this wasn't a roast. Ralph Kaplan is not only one of the best men that I've ever met, one of the best men that I or any of us here tonight will ever be. I'm extremely proud to be his grandson and to call him my boss. Even at age 90 3/4, up until recently, he was in the office 5 days a week, paying careful attention to inventory levels, customer counts, pricing, promotions, personnel, marketing, advertising, and every regulatory and legislative issue that affects our industry. Over the last few months, unfortunately, Ralph's health has kept him out of the office, and so now he calls the office multiple times every day to talk about inventory levels, customer counts, pricing, promotions, personnel. You get the picture. And despite everything he's been through, he's sharp as a tack, he hasn't missed a beat. Last week, I received a note from another beverage alcohol retailer that I thought I'd share with you today, a short email. He wrote, "I received a wonderful call today from your grandfather. He is still so sharp. I have to say it was really uplifting hearing from him at that exact moment after having one of those days. Ralph is one of my heroes, and it really made me happy to hear from him. We are all so lucky to have him." And I think that sums up how we all feel about Ralph. We're always happy to hear from him, and we're so lucky to have him. And in addition to keeping an eye on the business that he and his brother Bernie, of blessed memory, built so successfully over the course of their lives, Ralph also finds time to keep up religiously with all of the 4 major Boston sports teams, every single Jewish professional athlete in the world. He continues to serve on the boards of directors of half a dozen non-for-profit organizations. He's still an active Freemason, and he's still very active in politics. He raised last year in the primaries for 2014. He helped raise money for 5 different candidates and attended countless fundraising breakfasts. I've already started a separate fund of my own money that I can put aside for all the checks that Ralph's going to ask me to write next year in the 2016 primaries. I've seen pictures of Ralph as a young man. We have some pictures we've scanned in recently. Ralph as a young man behind the counter in his father's restaurant, in their first liquor store, and often I find myself wishing that I knew him and Uncle Bernie way back when they were just starting out in the world, wheeling and dealing, hustling, tirelessly working for their families in so many worthy causes, never taking no for an answer, and never settling for second best. But the truth is that personally and for all of us, we're so lucky to know Ralph as an older man, because after all these years, so many personal triumphs and tragedies, physical issues that have left him a little bit frail, he's still a hustler, he's still a wheeler and a dealer, He works tirelessly to support his ever-growing family, so many worthy causes. He still never takes no for an answer, and he absolutely never settles for second best. Nana and Papa, on behalf of all your grandchildren, we love you so much, and we're so proud to be here today to honor you on this great day.
And now representing, so Harriet and Ralph have 10 great-grandchildren. And what's really amazing is that all of them live within about 2 miles of them. So they really do get to see them and share, Harriet and Ralph share in their lives, and they get a chance to share in their great-grandparents' lives. So we're going to have Michaela speak for the great-grandchildren.
Send the boys up. You want to come up? Ryan.
Good afternoon. My name is Michaela Selby, and I am one of Harriet and Ralph's 10 great-grandchildren. There's Jackson, myself, Talia, Megan, Jameson, Nate, Brandon, Colby, JD, and little Shelby. I am so happy to be here today to celebrate and congratulate Nana and Papa. We are all so lucky to have them in our lives. They are both so kind, generous, and caring. There is so much I love about them. We spend every holiday, birthday, and special occasion together, but best of all is the everyday moments we get to see them. Whenever we go to their house, they ask about school and activities and are genuinely interested. Last year, at my holiday performance, Nana came to see me and offer her support. It was also very special because there were 4 generations there. I realize how lucky I am to have that. I also asked each great-grandchild what they would say about Nana and Papa. My sister Megan loves that Nana goes to watch her perform at the Nutcracker and at her dance recital every year. Nate says he loves Nana, Harry, and Papa Ralph because they're the oldest people he knows. He likes going to the beach at their house and says they are always generous and nice with their yummy treats. Jackson says Nana, Harriet, and Papa Ralph are nice and loving and caring, and they're always doing nice things for their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. He loves going out in the summertime golfing at Kernwood with Papa Ralph. Talia says Nana and Papa are the most amazing great-grandparents ever. She says they are nice and loving, generous and caring, and she loves them very much. Shelby said, I love sitting on Nana's lap. She reads me book and book after book. I say to her, one more please, and Nana always says yes. JD said, Nana and Papa are the most generous people I know. When they have just a few jelly beans and chocolate milks left, they always give them to us. They share their Legos with us. I like watching TV with Papa Ralph. Jameson has fond memories of visiting them in Florida at the beach and says they are generous and kind and share their chocolate. Colby and Brandon like how the TV is always on in the back room, most of the time with sports. And they share their snacks and juice boxes. Brandon loves taking a ride on Papa's chair. So you can see all of us, down to Shelby, see their generosity. And yes, we all love how there are always treats and kisses at their house. Though we love them very much, lucky for them, they get to see us in small doses, spoil us, then send us home. What they are teaching us is beyond measure. They are teaching us how to take care of our family, how to work together as a family, and how to give back to our community. Nana and Papa provide us with the most simple form of love that exists. Congratulations to them today.
Our entire Jewish community. Family includes not only the direct descendants of Harriet and Ralph, but the extended family and friends who surround and envelop them with endless love. L'Adore V'Adore, from generation to generation, the immediate family includes children, grandchildren, and a vibrant 4th generation, Harriet and Ralph's 10 great-grandchildren. We are lucky to be here all together today, 4 generations strong, to share our love, L'Adore V'Adore. Especially for the children in the room, I hope you will hear and learn today about the legacy of philanthropy and generosity that have been the core of Harriet and Ralph's life. It is what we all think of first when they come to mind. Generosity is in Ralph's lifeblood, inherited directly from his father, Harry, who literally came to America in the early 1900s with nothing but the clothing on his back. Harry began life as a fruit peddler, selling fruits and vegetables from a horse-drawn carriage. Eventually, he was able to purchase a cafeteria in East Boston, but even as Harry made a modest living, he was generously helping those around him. I have articles from old East Boston newspapers telling of Harry's generosity, giving a birthday party and purchasing medicine for a very sick 8-year-old boy whose family did not have enough money to purchase life-saving drugs, donating a bunkhouse building to Kitty Camp, a summer camp for underprivileged boys living in Boston, or quietly providing meals for the hungry at holiday times. Harriet and Ralph have continued that legacy in so many ways, too many ways to count. Israel Bonds, Ben Gurion University, CJP, ADL, Hillel, Sharat Hayam, JCC, and that is really only the tip of the iceberg of the hundreds of organizations that Harriet and Ralph support. And they don't just give their money, although that is very important. They lend their name, they make calls, they lead by examples for others to follow. Today is just another example in a long history of their extraordinary generosity. Ralph saw a need to make senior life better on the North Shore, and when Barry called, Ralph was ready to help in any way he could. Why do they work so hard to support Jewish and non-Jewish organizations, locally, nationally, and internationally? Through their philanthropy and involvement, they create a living legacy, a gift they give their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, a gift of reshaping a world to help others. My father has always said that to whom much is given, much is expected. The responsibility of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, is in each of our hands. It does not require huge amounts of money or huge amount of time. Margaret Mead said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever does." Today we come together, a group of thoughtful, committed people, to say that although individually we have the power to change the world, collectively our strength can multiply exponentially. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote the following lines in a poem entitled The Psalm of Life. I think he had Harriet and Ralph in mind. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints in the sand of time. I can think of no couple whose footprints have left such deep and a lasting impression on so many. Here are a few lines from the song For Good, the play from Wicked. I think it perfectly expresses how everyone in this room feels. So much of me is made of what I've learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart, and now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Harriet and Ralph, Mom and Dad, Nana and Papa, I think everyone in the room feels that they have been made better by knowing you. We are lucky to be your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, relatives, friends, and colleagues. Everyone who has had the privilege of knowing you says you are a mentor and role model who by your goodness, kindness, and generosity have shown them so much by example. L'Ador Vador, from generation to generation, you have taught us that the world is a better place for having you in it. We love you.
Into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are there to those that help us most to grow, if we let them, and we help them in return. But I don't know if I believe that is true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit, as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we may never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made from what I've learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by the wind of the sea, like a sea dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. Like the comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe we have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, because we know you, we have been changed for good. I just have to say one thing. She's used to dancing when I say it. You love the dancing, right?
Nancy, thank you for those renditions. They were beautiful. I think the audience, I think you deserve a round of applause. It's been a long morning, and I won't bore you too much. I speak for Harriet and myself to say that we are humbled and honored by the presence of each and every one of you this morning at the dedication of the Harriet and Ralph Kaplan estates. It means so much to be surrounded by many family and friends. Thank you to Rabbi Ragozin, my Rabbi of Sharat Hayom. Barry Berman, my thanks to the Chelsea Foundation, and Flory Schwartz from CJP for your inspiring and kind words. It is a privilege to have each of you share this special day with me and my family. A special thanks to Nancy Maluski for her tireless work in putting this entire morning together, and Michael and the whole Aviv food service staff for a wonderful brunch. Many decades ago, visionary community leaders like Lou Rav, Sam Shapiro, Sam Stone, Sam Stahl, Herbie Gold, and many others recognized the need for exemplary senior care on the North Shore. They founded the Jewish Rehabilitation Center, commonly known as the JRC. And with their generosity, abiding commitment, and hard work, the institution grew into a nationally recognized leader in senior care. The next generation, leaders like Ruth Pastor, Jim Rudolph, Neil Gorman, Cy Schwartz, and many others, helped continue the legacy until the present time. Each of those leaders deserve our eternal gratitude for their role to ensure that each person on the North Shore had quality options for dignified, serious senior care. I was very familiar with our local senior care when I first became acquainted with the Chelsea Foundation. When I used to visit Julie Albert and Hein Bell of blessed memory, who in their final years leave the Chelsea. I was so impressed with the care they received. More recently, I began visiting a young man named Barry, who has physical and developmental disabilities. I met Barry and his parents when they had a joint season ticket at Bruins hockey games. We shared our love of the Bruins for over 35 years. When Barry's mother passed away, Barry needed care instruction, and he moved into Cohen Florence of Eden State in Chelsea. As I regularly visited him, I recognized what wonderful and necessary care Barry gets. A short time ago, I was excited to hear that our local senior facilities were merging with Chelsea Jewish Foundation to create a stronger, more vibrant senior living center. That is why when Barry Berman approached me with his vision with an improved senior facility on the North Shore, I said, Anini, here I am. I was happy to take part of this exciting new collaboration to make our local senior facilities even more cutting edge and stronger in the past. I spoke to my family about making a difference in the lives of so many. They enthusiastically joined Harriet and me in this incredible opportunity. Together, we hope that our legacy will be an example to others, a legacy of service and hope. Just a few weeks ago, I learned firsthand what an incredible rehabilitation facility we have. When I needed physical therapy in Aviv after a short hospital stay, I was impressed every day with the kindness, dedication, and professionalism of the Aviv staff. I again want to thank everyone here today for making this a day we will never forget. I want to thank my daughters and their spouses, Ann and Bob Selby, Roz and Brian Moore, Susan Kaplan, and Judy and Billy Bishop. They generally offered to be my philanthropic partner this wonderful naming opportunity. For my wonderful grandchildren and great-grandchildren, thank you for your kind, constant love and support. You bring laughter and smiles to Harriet and me every time we see you. Finally, there is one person to whom I owe everything. My wife of almost 68 years, Harriet, is my best friend and the love of my life. Thank you all for making today such a special and memorable day. Thank you.